Wagwan, double S, also known as Father Leave Me. Get me? Just gonna take you on a little tour around Northumberland Park where man grew up, you know. Tea&Crumpets. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. See this bit here? Prime location. I used to live right there. That's my old house. That's my first house. I lived right next to the bus stop, so you know. You get me? We used to go garment rooms. It used to be through there, but obviously now they've built the train station and everything. But you could, basically the train station bit weren't there. There was a train station, but that bit was like barriers and whatever the case is. And then they'll go up and then you can go to garment rooms. That was the rave that we used to go to when man was young. I even tell you a quick story. One time, me and my older brother must have wanted to go to the rave now. I think I even got kicked out of school and that. So I wasn't even supposed to go to the rave. Got like a little iceberg history tracksuit, commands a fresh you. And then obviously me and my brother snuck out, tried to put the pillows underneath the, you get me? Fam, we've left, gone to the rave, come back. All the brothers trying to sneak up, you get me, second floor and that, how we're doing the tactical thing. He's opened the window, my dad's just standing there staring at him. I couldn't believe what was going on. My dad stood there for a minute. In my head I'm thinking, fam, my man could drop you now. Got licks on that day, you get me? But that house is, I would actually want to buy it one day. I come through, I think 2 weeks ago, and I must have seen our neighbor, our old neighbor, so she remembered, man, and I think some new people are in the yard and everything. They must have thought to themselves, this youth's trying to plot on the yard and that, not knowing it's my old yard. But yeah, this is the bus stop bit, this is the original Patanini for Northumberland Park, you get me? So yeah, everyone knows about this bit. If you don't know about this bit, I don't know, you get me? But let's roll, man. And yeah, this is literally my old road. This is the first road I knew anything about anything, do you get what I mean, yeah? Before man even used to play out, this was the humble beginnings, you know what I mean? So this was my little playing out section first before man started playing out in the world. And the first world, for example, became the area, and then after that it just became bigger. But yeah, this is my first, this is governance, you know what I mean? There was a gal that lived over there, I'm not gonna show you the door, but you know. And then yeah, boom bam. This was, you get me, this was the little strip that man started understanding who's who and what's what. Vertex used to live on this road as well. I'm not gonna be out his yard, but Vertex lived on this road as well. Man, this is literally origins, man. You get me? Every single man, this is before, I think this is where I figured out who everyone was in the area as well. Because I think when you first start coming outside and everything, all you know is your cousins, your friends, well not friends, but your cousins, your family members. As soon as you start coming out, you start seeing kids that are your age and your generation, for example. And then after that, it's like, obviously you click up with everyone. And then this is where we first, I don't even think it was a music, no, it was a music thing at first. I'm gonna take you to Willoughby Lane soon. But that's where we first started ATG. ATG is the first music situation that man had, where it's just like, Lodge Up Alim each and every time and everyone else that was involved. But they basically showed man, like, you don't have to do the road thing or whatever the case is. I think they knew what was going on road and everything, and they were just trying to do something positive. And that's when everyone kind of realized that they could spit lyrics. You know what I mean? This was my little, you get me? This wasn't here before though. This wasn't even here before still. So that huge them. This was like, there was two small ones, two black small ones, and man are trying to go all the way round and do the Mazayin. You get me? But so the little governance section, I'm a bit childish sometimes, innit? So you don't forgive, man, still. You get me? I'm trying to grow up, man, but I'm not even on the growing up thing a little bit, kind of stressful. This is called Kenneth Robinson. Shocker, do you know what's funny? Shocker told me that he's lived in here before when he was younger. His name's Kenneth, innit? So it's mad funny, so everything kind of aligned, it made sense. But yeah, this block here, we called it the 16th floor. See, when you get to the actual 16th floor, I don't know if we're gonna go in there, but when you get to the actual 16th floor, you could see the whole of the area. Do you get what I mean? Obviously, if you're on this side, you'll see the whole of down there. If you're on that side, you'll see the whole of down there. And you can literally see, you probably could even see the Tottenham Stadium. You can see Farm, you can see all of these other different places. If they've got big buildings, you can clock, okay, that's that area, that's that area. So obviously, I'm gonna take you around, but this is where after ATG, this is where we started doing hub. So what they did, they had this bit, but I think they got this bit second. But this bit used to be like, inside there would be like computers, snooker, all of them sort of stuff for all the kids to come down and obviously showcase their abilities. Look, they've even put this there so you can tell, get me skills, ability, achievement, confidence, motivation, knowledge, success, employment, training, So it was always a positive thing anyway. Like, I respect every single person. Large up Jester, large up Lyndon, large up Alim. They always try to put the man them on a positive path, do you get what I mean? So yeah, it was turned. But yeah, when Hub originally started, before we started going around the back, I'm gonna show you around the back, but before we started going around the back, why for that? But yeah, we used to go through here first, didn't it? And then obviously that, we didn't even know that they even had a pattern or a structure and anything. For example, we'd just go through there. After school was in this bit here, and then the other side, for example, is where they started doing the DJ thing. Because I'm here, the birds are filling, man. You know what I'm saying? So the other side used to be like the DJ bit, where we can learn how to DJ, we can learn how to spit bars, we can learn how to write bars, but we just turned it into an actual youth club. Do you get what I mean? I think before that, for example, it was just to help us to learn our pattern. But then we turned it into a youth club, and this is where all the man them started just linking up. It became the actual in thing. Northumberland Park actually made a little pattern for ourselves. We had our own brand, I would say. You know what I mean? And then obviously people eventually, after a while, from different type of areas and everything, we made it lit. So all the kids from schools, this was the back bit still. So that's where everyone started coming through instead of the front bit, eventually after a while, because we actually made it like an event, you know what I mean? And then people from different schools, whether it was Tommy Moore, whether it was D&K, whether it was Northumberland Park, whether it was Glazemore, even schools in Enfield, yeah, like, we made it an in thing, man. Do you get what I mean? So eventually, after a while, this was our little function. Every single Friday, man, them are actually starting to buy gums as if it's a rave. This was our little rave for the kids in Northumberland Park. Do you get what I mean? So this is origins, and then we just come out here and act up. You get me after? Northumberland Grove, you know. If you know, you know. We call that It World. If you don't know, you don't know. But if you know, you know. All the real original Pataninis know about It World. We used to call it It World, I think, at like 14, 15. So all the man then, once we started coming outside and really understanding what we want to do, some people do music, some people do road, but it's an all family unit thing. For example, we used to always come in, you know what I mean, and just chill, for example, just figure things out. For example, if anyone needs to do so and so, if we're going raving, if whatever the case is, all the man them link up here. Do you get me? This was our summertime, this bit and that strip over there that I just took you to as well. So this was our little govern spot, you get what I mean? And then yeah, the governini. Cut through this bit. So this bit, obviously there's like a cage all the way down there. You know what I mean? If you know Northumberland Park, you know about the cage bit. So all the man that, I'm gonna be real, so much man was good at football, you know. Bare man was good at football in Northumberland Park, fam. You know what I mean? This was our little... Bro, I'm gonna be real, we didn't even have to leave. We never really had to leave the area, in all fairness. We only, I'm gonna be, man them only left to make bread and gal or raving. But we didn't have to leave. We had everything here, and then any single time that we needed to go buy stuff or whatever the case is, man them will roll together. Yeah, I mean, man them used to get the same tracksuit. I remember one time we had a show in Willoughby Lane, funny enough. So we got a show in Willoughby Lane, all the man them got a night tracksuit. I couldn't get it because man didn't really have bread at the time, you get me? So guess what happened for me? Because my thing's a bit God-given, you get me? So what ended up happening, Lodge up B double, big bro B double, you get me? He's got the same name as me as well, Bashir, you get me? Alhamdulillah. So we'll quickly go parlay and then we'll go over there after. So yeah, boom. B double now. He asked me, all right, like all the man them are gonna be performing and whatever the case is. What you got? They're all gonna get the same tracksuit. What? You got something? I was like, nah, it's a bit gazy, you know. He told me not to even say this, but I'm gonna say it because that's big bro. My man got me an iceberg history, basically suit. So he's got me iceberg history bottoms, iceberg history top, fam. Since that day, me and him was just like that. I was young, I was like 13, 14. Bro, let's be double, man. That's big bro, trust me. So yeah, from there, I just knew this is what I want to do. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time, for example, with the elders and everything, you never really pre these things. You could, yeah? You never really pre these things a lot of the time, yeah? But a lot of the time, in all fairness, yeah, like, it makes you want to be like them, because it's like they're helping the youngers, do you know what I mean? Like they're kind of patterning their thing, you know what I mean? So, it's governed. But yeah, so this is Park Lane still. It's where man grew, you get me? Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Are you there? Yeah, come on, you're not letting, you get me? Yeah?
Tottenham,
Come
all
on,
the
man.
way.
Come on. Appreciate you, my brother, yeah? Respect.
Love my
Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you know, I don't know if they've changed this, but
Remember, we run things in
come on, man.
Tottenham run things.
Big and serious, man.
Only
Big and serious.
talking to someone that's from that's been Birmingham.
Everywhere.
Link up with the Burger Man Johnson's.
Come.
No place like home.
No play.
Tottenham. All the
No
way.
play.
You done know my brother, yeah? Love my cheese, yeah?
There was a guy called Harry that used to, I don't know if was it this one or that one, but Harry used to run this shop. Everyone knows Harry. If you don't know Harry, you're playing. And then there's a Caribbean shop over there. Best patties. You get me? So it wasn't even a joke like that. But yeah, this was, you get me? This is Park Lane, man. You get me? This was the origins. So boom, this was the shop that man used to go to when man was even primary school, fam. You know what I mean? Like, I think, how old was man? Man was basically even 11, fam, if I'm gonna be honest. How you doing, Bashir?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I can see if my man's still in it, so. It's not even the same brother, still. Yeah, this was the little spot still. How you doing, Bashir? Yeah. There was a brother that was in here, yeah. Do you know, this is when I knew these lot make so much bread. I see my man here, and then I see my man in N15. I see a man in N15 in a different shop. A man said, yeah, nah, I own like 3-4 shops. I said, wow, is that how you like getting bread? It's a, yeah, and we're filming something for the internet.
Okay, you're filming it.
Yeah.
This guy is old, man.
Yeah, get it, man. They say everyone knows him, yeah? Come on. Respect my brothers, yeah?
Okay.
Come on. Yeah, so boom now. That spot there, any single time, I think man was in year 5, going to that shop before I go to school. You know what I mean? Walking to school by myself. You know what I mean? So boom. This little spot here, fam. And this was my road, so you could go down here but beat my road on that. You get me? This is all mad there. This even feels mad. This was my first primary school, but we called it Coleraine Park Primary School. It was Coleraine Park Primary School. Now it's called Harris. It's called something called Harris. Kind of Harris. This weren't there though. But yeah, Harris Primary School, man. Oh, it's still Coleraine Park. We're still in the game. But yeah, I was here. This is longer than 20 years ago, if I'm gonna be honest, you know. Like, yeah, way longer than 20 years, fam. This weren't all here. This was all concrete. So they've built this, but it looks proper dope. So I guess the kids are enjoying themselves. The big playground is this side though. That was the I think year 1s, year 2s, and year 3s maybe. And then this is the big playground on this side. I don't know. They don't have a blockage bit, but they used to have like a bit that blocks it. So let's say, for example, this bit blocks it, and then obviously all the young ones are over there, and all the big ones are over this side. I forgot what that teacher was. Miss Saunders, that's her name, Miss Saunders. Miss Saunders used to deal with man correct as well. She was on me though, but obviously she was on me for good reasons. Like, man was a bit bad and that naughty. You could tell this is the grown one car. Obviously they got the whole, you get me, where man are mashing themselves up and that. And then there used to be like a water fountain over there as well. But yeah, Miss Saunders actually wanted the best for man, for example, but I always used to be mad, disobedient. And then you can go down there, but the dinner hall was on this side. Fam, this is all nuts, fam. I haven't been here in, I could easily say 15 years. I could easily say 15 years. Mate. If you know about me though, yeah, the only thing, yeah, nah. But yeah, the dinner hall was that side, still. But anyone that actually knows me, obviously man's a calm brother and that, yeah. I was not calm. I was not calm in school. I was not calm in primary, I was not calm in secondary. And it's only when I actually left school, man became calm. And I only became calm because man found music, alhamdulillah. You know what I mean? Obviously, people say it's haram, I struggle for Allah, but at the same time, when I found that, I could concentrate on something, you know what I mean? So, everything covered. Fam, this is all nuts. You get me? Color, rain, color, trust me. This is all, you know what's funny, yeah? This was the first place man did music. Basically, they must have booked, I think it was a football thing from before anyway, as you can see all around there and that. Then there's like a big football thing over there as well. But this was the first place that I think ATG, big up Alim and all the people that were involved. It's the first place that man found like people that could spit bars. So Shot D, Lady T, Cypher, Limit. This is where I met all the man them first to do music. I got told that there's this music thing. I was like, let me try it out. I think I'm all right. Come down there. There's Dex, there's Ryan Camp, there's whatever the case is. And then they must have had a spot upstairs. So we'll come here every single, I think it was Friday. And this is before Hub. It was this place here. You know what I mean? So this is Origins. And then obviously football, every Saturdays, man would come down here. They would pay us, each man, I think, a £5. But there was bare kids, for example, they'll pay every man a £5, for example. We started doing tournaments, people coming from other places and everything. All my cousins come down because they were cold. Large up Chef Izzy and that, large up Dread, large up Books. All the man would just come down and would just mash everyone up. Going ham. You get me? So this was a little spot, man. But yeah, fam, I just like seeing, like, say for example, this new generation just coming to do their thing as well, fam. It reminds me of man, fam. This was man. You know what I mean? These like not that good, so I'm not even gonna front. No, I'm joking. We're gonna check now. So. Look, you got bullied for no reason. That's what I'm saying. Put your shirt down. Really play the game. Take it serious. Score. If he misses it, I'm on him. Look, joking. Finish that figure stuff, bro. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Shaky warrior, fam. Do you know what it is? I think since young, when I was like in school and whatnot, I've always kind of said to myself, do you know what, I want more for myself. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And I think like belief system is everything, innit? I think I'm a person that's just naturally always believed. You know what I mean? I'm a person that I over believe that sometimes it looks delusional or it looks like I'm doing too much or whatever the case is. But a lot of the time I think, let's say Kanye and all of these other people, for example, they had to, like when I see the Jay-Z's and everything, within the circumstances that they had, they weren't supposed to overly exceed the limits that got put on them. So for me, it was always one of them situations where I always knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel, just naturally in general. I'm a person, if I tell myself I'm going to do something, for example, as long as no one deters my mentality and everything, I'll always get to it. So for me, it was just one of them ones where it's like I've always got an ending goal. Even down to if I don't reach the ending goal within 10 years, it's still the ending goal. If I say I want a mansion, no matter what happens within that 10 years, for example, it's still going to come to pass. You know what I mean? It's just that the day that I stop believing in what I've told myself is the day it's finished, I personally believe. So it was amazing. For me, I think it was just one of them ones where it's like a different experience every single day. Imagine waking up and saying, do you know what? I want to go on MTV. I got an MTV advert. Waking up, oh, right, it would be dope to see Wiley. Wiley's hitting me up for a feature. Oh, right, like, Skepta's cold. I even see him, Skepta, Jamie, and a few of the Meridian man must have come to Hub when we was like 14. So this is before I even knew them personally. And I was like, right, now one day, hopefully, man can make a tune with Skepta. I got a tune with Skepta, do you get what I mean? And it took a while or whatever the case is, but it was always the plan, do you get what I mean? So I feel like any single time that I've always had a plan, for example, I've always made sure that I kind of went for it and I achieved it, do you get what I mean? So yeah, it's just belief system. I tell everyone, for example, as long as you believe it, for example, it can happen, you get what I mean? So boom, Drake and Riri, you get me? That's what they want to know on Tea&Crumpets, yeah? That Drake and Riri thing. So boom, Vertex used to work at Metropolis Studios. That's where he was doing like a lot of other people's videos, like all the high-end videos. Like I think he started working as for the company as Metropolis, and then they used to bring him in like a lot of videos. So he done In the Morning, he done so much other different tunes anyway. But that was his actual job in it. But then at the time, Marvel was actually in Metropolis, for example, recording and all our videos. As much as I love him now, pick up Max, my brother. But yeah, we dealt with you in Metropolis, you get what I mean? Yeah, why for that, pause. But yeah, we dealt with the matter in Metropolis, you get me? So yeah, we just had like, we was blessed, I won't even front. So one time, I think we must have been walking downstairs and we just randomly see Drake. And this whole time, I think 2 weeks before, I must have heard Drake's So Far Gone album. So I'm thinking, Shocker said it, I think. And I was like, Shocker, you're capping. He said, Drake is right there in front of me. I'm like, no. And then we see 40 as well. I said, oh my God, what's going on here? So obviously me, I compose myself. You know me, I can't even show him what's really going on. But my man, as soon as we told him we're the Marvel Boys, a man the next day, I remember he was wearing some red trainers, innit? A man's come up the stage like, the Marvel Boys. I'm like, right, he still remembers. So he's a very genuine, honest guy, do you get me? That's one thing I give him. And then I think that was the time that him and Rihanna was recording, oh nah nah, what's my name? So they were recording that downstairs. So then we got a drop from Rihanna and then we got a drop from Drake as well, and then 40 actually gave us the instrumental for Successful. So we actually recorded that off the actual original instrumental. Do you get what I mean? It weren't no facade thing, no whatever the case is, no YouTube rip. It was the actual instrumental. And yeah, from there I just knew, do you know what? Man's close to getting to where man needs to be, and I feel like sometimes those are indications of actually getting to where you need to get to as well. I think like stuff like that for me, it just reminds me. I remember there's another situation, I'm not even going to say it, but I've told you already, but I'm not going to say it. But the main reason I believe that that situation's even happening is due to that same exact energy. You get what I mean? Like even when I told Shaka about the situation, he was like to me, Double, we met Drake, so we're aligned in that direction as well already. Do you get what I mean? So I'm not shocked that it's happening. But we obviously believe in spiritual stuff, innit? So yeah, like what up Drake and Rihanna, you done though. Can't come Tottenham and not see the legendary Chick King Rude Boy opposite the Tottenham Stadium with the, you get me? I'm an Arsenal fan, but boom. You get me? We're gonna quickly say Wagwan to the twins, them. I think one of them's in there. But just gonna say Wagwan. Hey you! If you know, you know. Man's been coming in since I was 12 years old, fam. At 12 years old. Maybe even younger.
My family, how are you?
I'm good, man.
How you doing?
I just come to say, hello. I just come to say well gone because I'm doing a documentary, innit? How you been though, man? Hey, yeah, good, you're good.
My father, always pleasure.
How's your brother, man?
We're very well.
I'm good, man. So let me say hello.
My father's here.
These two are twins. My name's Double. You know what time it is already. Do you get me? These lot have been supporting man since man was a very young boy. You know what I mean? I'm good, my brother, man. I need to show them these. I need to show these like you, man. These are twins. The names. This is. I'm Double S. These are twins. You know what I mean?
I'm Alex Isagi.
Yeah. You get me? So boom.
Boom.
Chick King, the original pattern. Man's been coming here since I was 12 years old. You get me? I'm 32 now. You know what I mean?
You're still a baby.
I am. God bless always, man.
Love you, man.
Love always. I appreciate you, man. Respect, always. Come on. I had to let you do your thing. Supporting Arsenal, but being in Tottenham. People don't understand this behaviour, but let me tell you where the behaviour comes from. So me and every single one of my brothers all support different teams. We can't support the same team. It's a competition thing every time with a football team. You know why? My older brother supports Tottenham. My little brother supports Man U. My other brother supports Chelsea. I'm not linking up with you lot for all of these teams, fam. I'm going to support Arsenal. I've been supporting Arsenal from school, to be fair. That's the first team I chose. But then the older man got, for example, the more man started realising, you know what, all of us support different teams, innit? But it's a good rivalry or conversation, for example, in the house. Do you get what I mean? When we was growing up and everything. My older brother's always running his mouth. When Tottenham lose, we're on him. When Chelsea lose, we're on that one. They've been smoking me with the Arsenal thing already. Chelsea, I'm not even really hearing you lot like that. You get me? But Scoven still. But yeah, at the same time, I'm gonna be real, this is one of the most braziest stadiums that you're gonna ever find though. One thing I give Tottenham, their stadium. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, so boom now, yeah. The stadium is very brazy. I'm hearing it costs like 900 mil or up to a bill, but it's worth it. I'm gonna be real, this is Zamazayin still an Arsenal fan though, but you give respect where respect is due, you get me? See Brown Eagles, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. This has been my shop for I don't know how long. It's one of the best Caribbean shops still. There's two sweet and peppers and spice down there as well. But Brown Eagles obviously is close to home. Love famo, yeah?
Love, man.
Link up, Aki.
Legendary guy.
My brother, you know?
Legendary.
Shower thing, come on, respect. So boom now, yeah? Yeah, Brown Eagles, I'm gonna be real, there was like a month or two that man bought Brown Eagles with Shaka. Shaka phones me from his yard. He comes to link me and we go Brown Eagles. This was when it was at White Hart Lane. And we just bought food every day for like a month or two, if I'm gonna be honest, you get me? These things dank still. Boom, it was a month. A month or two, me and Shaka was just going Brown Eagles every single day. I think that month or two, we had a lot of free time, innit? So obviously all we had to really do is write, innit? I think we just come back from tour. Fam, we was in Brown Eagles every day. And I was getting the same thing every day. stewed chicken, rice and peas with coleslaw. Can't go wrong with the tropical rhythm thing. Mad. I don't even know what's going on. You get me? So yeah, Brown Eagles, whenever you lot are in Tottenham, come Brown Eagles. It's a proper pattern. There's one in Enfield as well. You get me? Where else? Bare different other places as well. But yeah, Brown Eagles is the in thing, man. You get me? Don't know. So my trip back home, yeah. A lot happened, man, if I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I'm gonna touch on two things. I'm gonna tell you about the trip back home. I'm gonna tell you a situation. I've never really said this. I don't know if I have, but never really said it, for example, about what kind of changed my whole perspective on life in general, what made me kind of govern and pattern up a tiny bit more. So my trip back home is because over here, you know, obviously parents, for example, they get worried about their kids, for example, becoming, like, basically going down the wrong road. So I was naturally going down the wrong road already. But for me, it was one of them situations where I was just trying to find myself. I've always been one of them people where, alhamdulillah, like, man's always had a good home. I've always had a good mum, a good father, everything. It was just man, for example. Like, I wanted more. Do you get what I mean? I wanted to be my own person. I wanted to be my own man. Now, deep in it, for example, the more I've kind of assessed it, I was just trying to be myself. I was just trying to find my road in it, yeah. So, yeah, like, I got kicked out of school. Obviously, man went D&K, St. David, St. Catherine. But then they changed it to Greg City, and yeah, like, I was doing very good education wise. I'm gonna be real, I kind of played. I was very actually dope. Do you get me? Like, I was getting stupid grades. Like, I remember one time, man was doing Spanish here, and I was just joking, and I got 75%, and my teacher said, why do you keep playing and you're so good at what you do? He said that to me, and I was just like, I think now deep in it, for example, I just get bored easily. For example, I complete whatever I need to complete, for example, but I can't sit still for too long. So then, yeah, I must have got kicked out of school, and then I was out of school for like 2 months, and then I must have got rushed. And after I got rushed, my mum said, yeah, he needs to go. You get me? My dad approved. I was out of the game, you get me? I was out there. As soon as I got there, for example, they gave my passport to my auntie. From there, even when I saw them, the transition from my pocket to her, you get me? I said, yo, you get me? But I'm not thinking anything. 2 weeks later, my mum's like, yeah, we can't find you a school. Obviously capping, but yeah, we can't find you a school, so you might have to stay there. Turn the phone off, no one's talking to me. Stubborn mode now for like 2-3 weeks, just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, because I'm one of them people, for example, as soon as people kind of change the goalpost, I have to figure it out for myself, innit? So then I was like, you know what, I'm here, innit? Like, it's not like, say for example, man can go to school, my auntie's got my passport. No, it's not like man can run away or do the most or whatever the case is. My auntie's got my passport, so I've gone to the school, seeing everything, for example. But one thing I do always say, for example, I appreciate my mum and my dad, for example, for giving me that opportunity as well, because it made me realize what life is really about. I think this is why, even down to me now, for example, the sort of person that I am, like, I hear what people say, for example, but when people start moving weird or funny or whatever the case is, for example, I just look at things for what it is. See, before that, for example, I try understand people, I try whatever the case is, but after that, for example, I just look at, like, this is where we're at, innit? And this is how we move. So that's one thing that, alhamdulillah, like, it gave me, like, it's just a deeper understanding of life, for example. Like, sometimes you're going to be by yourself and you need to figure it out by yourself, but that's what brings the gems, and that's what kind of patterns you anyway. So man's gone and did that. Yeah, I went to school for literally not school, but I was in Uganda for literally 365 days. I remember counting, because I think the first day that it started happening, for example, I was so on everyone, I was just counting, let's see how many days this is going to be on everyone. But then, yeah, like, I think within it, for example, you just start learning new things and new experiences, and you start governing, and you start patterning, and you start just accepting and assessing things, do you know what I mean? And I think this is why I think and move the way I think now. So I always thank my mum for that, for that moment, do you know what I mean? Because I think that moment was a very vital part of why I am the way I am now, do you know what I mean? Like, I've still got my ways and whatever the case is, but I'm more governed, I'm more understanding, I get things, innit? Do you know what I mean? And I think, like, Shoka must have sent me something the other day, for example, that said a man's life only changes when he goes through specific things, innit? And I then said to him, I've gone through every single one of them things. There was 5 things. I'm not gonna say all of them, but there was 5 things that I was like, I've gone through every single one of them things. So he's like, this is why you're the way you are. Do you know what I mean? So from there, I was just like, alhamdulillah, like, I actually get it. For example, I feel like any single person that hasn't gone through life experiences will think everyone's tapped. They'll think everyone's rare, this and that. When you go through life experiences, you know why it's happening. And it's a journey for yourself as well. And I feel like that needed to happen, for example, for me to become the person I am today, do you know what I mean? Guess who man ran into?
You know what I'm trying to say, man?
Hey, Limit, tell them about Hub, I beg. Tell them about Hub.
Hey, listen. Let me tell you something about the Hub. You see that place there? Changed my life, man.
Origins,
it's the
man.
reason why, like, we're musicians now, man.
Trust me.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, we need more youth clubs, man, because see that changed my whole life, man.
Yeah, man, it's a governance, man. Do you get me? Like,
you know what I'm
even
trying to
like
say?
years later, for example, we're still on the path that we kind of set out to be.
100%,
Bro,
100%.
Limit was man's original DJ, Shoddy Crew DJ. This was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
original
yeah,
Shoddy
yeah.
Crew DJ. Now he engineers, he makes beats, everything, for
Yeah,
example.
man. Do you know what
And
I'm
we're still
saying?
on the same path. We found different other avenues outside of the stuff that we was
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
from
yeah.
early. Do you get what I mean? So that's what I love about it. It keeps you on a path, innit?
You know what it is for me? Like, I feel like I like, that's why, like, what I try and do now, yeah, I try and encourage the youth and say, listen, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, listen, if you, like, because I feel like back in the day was a thing where it's like you had to be an accountant, you had to be a doctor, you had to be a lawyer, you had to, you know what I'm trying to say? But it's like we live in a world now where you could do anything, man.
Do you know why though?
Say?
The main reason as well, like I think that you can do anything is because it's like it's more open to the whole world.
Yeah, 100%.
So because of the internet, for example, it's like
more accessible, isn't
like
it?
let's say for example before, yeah, you would have had to be like, let's say for example if you want to be an accountant,
Yeah.
you have to go uni, you have to go to do all of these things, for
Yeah.
example, and then go find people that do that,
Yeah.
and then sit there for 20 years, for example, and I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, for example, the social media has opened it up to, alright, cool, I want to do designing. There's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much people that do designing on social media, you can quickly go link my man,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
example. If you go
Yeah.
Denmark, if you go Sweden,
Yeah.
if you go to all of these countries.
And you know what as well, bro? You know how mad it is? You don't even have to link them. You can just send them a DM and just say,
No, the same
listen.
thing, but you still have to link
Yeah.
them.
it's
But
all
yeah,
like,
I agree.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, everything's just so intertwined now,
Yeah,
man. So
exactly. So my thing is this: there's no excuses in this day and age, especially for example. My advice
Yeah.
to everyone, because I think even down to today, someone's messaged me on Instagram and some girl, and she's like, I love the fact because I've started something called Flow, Father Lini's life observation, innit? So she's like, oh my god, I love the fact that you're using your Instagram. I just randomly did this.
Yeah.
Shocker's the reason, to be fair, yeah.
Okay.
But I just randomly did it, yeah. And she's like, I love the fact that you're using your Instagram, for example, for this such thing. I want to do the same thing, for example, but I'm shy. I said to her, start doing it and you'll figure it out along the way.
100%.
You get what I mean? Like, don't even wait like that.
You just gotta dive in, because even now, like, for an example, like my little sister, yeah, she does photography. And it's like, I just push her. I'm like, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do.
Literally.
You can achieve it. If that's what you want to do, do it. And it's like, she can look at me and see that I'm making a living from what I'm doing.
Exactly,
you know what I'm trying to say?
exactly.
So that's, yeah, man. That's the youth is like, is the
mashallah, fam.
the future, man. You know what I'm trying to say?
My thing is this as well, and even down to me, my whole ideology, for example, is just man's become the OG without wanting to be the OG. if that makes sense. Like, man's become the guy, for example, that people come to for advice, and I'm like, right, why are they getting advice?
Yeah.
In my head, I always say this as well, because we mentally look at things in a bit different, innit? Like, we got real life to deal with, whatever the cases. But with them, for example, they need the governance. We don't think of these things, for example. The next generation, for example, actually need the governance of the people that came before them. It's best to get
100%,
information, for example, from people that came before you, that to a degree did your thing. Maybe might be on different paths or whatever the case is, but at least you can give them a word.
You know what's so
You know what I
mad, yeah? I wish I had that.
We didn't,
We didn't
like
have it. We had to figure it out for ourselves.
like even down to most of our uncles or family members or whatever the case is, for
100%.
example. With them, I feel like they were still trying to find themselves, so they couldn't give us the information.
Because you got to remember, yeah, Dubs, we are second generation.
Yeah, of over here.
So they came to this country
And just had to, just had to maneuver.
And just had to you know what I'm
Maneuver,
trying to say?
and pattern.
Yeah, this is what we got to do. We got to do this. You got to do. Nah, man.
Whereas with us, to a degree, for example, we figured out, like, we can still basically be this age, for example, and basically we can still have the conversation with them. You know what I mean? Like, to a degree, like when it's like, say for example, just now, for example, he was around there, for example, I can have a conversation with a you on Park Lane quickly, for example, and just be like, no, govern your thing a bit like this. Like, it don't need to necessarily be too messy, for example. You can kind of maneuver it, and because we got their best interest realistically. Even down to when we see like a Alim or ATG or Linden, for example,
legends.
Them man, for example, gave us a governance because they could speak our language. That's my logic. So whether it's the road thing, whether it's this, whether it's that, for example, they can have the conversation, for example, and we can resonate with it. So even down to man, for example, when I see, for example, people that are younger than man, they could be 17, they could be 25. I'm 33 years old now. The sort of conversation I'm going to have with you is not to tell you what to do.
Nah,
It's
100%.
what do you do, for example? Like, cool, how can we better that, for example?
Why don't
make
you
it bigger
try and do this, try and do that, try and do it this way? Not
govern your family.
Not like, nah, you don't do that. Do this.
I don't tell people.
Only if it's fuckery, then I hear it. But you know what I'm trying to say? If it's a way that I can help whatever they're doing, like, that's what I want to do, man.
Like, I mean, even down to my whole ideology, for example, I don't really tell people what not to do. Like, even down, because I've started from road, innit? But my ideology, for example, is giving them the right information.
That's it, man.
You know what I mean?
That's it. My broski, alright, listen.
Love you, man.
So good to see you, man.
Always, my broski. One other thing, that kind of changed my life, and I don't know if I've ever really spoke about this, but when I was in Uganda, for example, there's a youth that man had to bury, innit? But the reason man had to bury him, so this was my guy. Like, I remember when I first got to Uganda, for example, I must have gone to my cousin's yard. And obviously my uncle used to live down here with us, for example. So when he's gone back there, I've never met his son, then I've met his son, innit? His son, me and him connected straight away, do you get me? So his son was the spot that you go to play PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. Obviously, when I come down there, I bring all the games and everything. So there was these two youths that used to always come there. One of them was younger, so I think one of them was like 10 and the other one was 13, and these times I'm 15. So the 13-year-old one, for example, me and him are dogs. Like, this is someone that I can connect with on top of my cousin, innit? So one time I think they must have come, and if I'm gonna be real, my uncle saved man from that day for anything happening to man. Fam, they've come to the yard, they want to play PlayStation. My uncle's like, these lot have to eat. Bashir and Shibiriga needs to eat food, innit? So you lot come back in like an hour. They've gone, but these kids have decided to go to Lake Victoria and get a boat thingy, for example, without paddles. You already know where this is about to go to. So they've got the boat thing without the paddles, but they've jumped into the boat, put it on the water, and it's basically moving forward, isn't it? You get me? Yeah? It's basically, yeah. So the thing now is basically moving forward. So obviously they want to get fish. They're just kids, just having fun, for example. But they don't know that this lake is not really a joke like that. It's not even a lake. It's huge. It's Lake Victoria. This goes to everywhere. It goes Kenya. It goes this place. It goes that place. So it's a big thing, fam. The utes have jumped in. So the big ute is on the front of the boat. The small ute's on the back of the boat. The big ute's trying to grab fish. So he's like leaning over. The small ute's got shook, jumped out. The utes fell into the water, big man. Quicksand has grabbed his foot, pulling him into the, you get me? Fam, the little utes come running back to the house. We're thinking, what's up for this guy? Like, he's got bare mud on his feet and everything. He's like, what's his name's dropped into the water? What's his name dropped into the water? We're thinking, no way. So we've hopped out, ran. Can't see the ute. The ute screaming, can't see the ute. I'm like, where did it happen? Here. Fam, we've come back, got his whole family. Fam, for 2 days they couldn't find the ute. 2 days, the ute's in the water, they couldn't find the ute. To the point where I think the next day that we've gone there, for example, his whole family is like, imagine at the lake, his family's set like a house. They built a house there, for example, waiting for this ute. People are on a boat, for example, looking for the ute everywhere, trying to just see if they can find him or whatever the case is. For 2 days, fam. Fam. If I tell you, when they found this ute, his head was the size of 2 head shapes, fam. Yeah, it's 2 heads in one. That's how big the water. I think all of it went into his everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but his head was huge. Yeah. First experience I've ever experienced of that, and I was traumatized. You get me? Yeah? So obviously I'm Muslim, innit? So to a degree, obviously you got sheikhs, for example, that understand what's really going on. For example, at the time I'm 15, I don't really know what's going on. So they're like, yeah, we need to bury him. You know what I mean, we need to bury him today. That's exactly what they said, fam. They didn't, not this money together. We need to bury my man today, fam. My man's village, where his granddad and grandma's from, is 4 hours away. We drove 4 hours. My uncle, I wasn't gonna go at first, but my uncle's like, Bashir needs to see it. And it's gone there, fam. 4 hours away. Everyone's scared to take the chute off the truck thing. But in my head, my logic was, and I think this is why I think the way I think now. My logic was, this is someone I've been chilling with for the last 2 months. We've gained a bond, everything, for example. Man has to help. Man's helped take his body off the thing, fam. His body was so stiff. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, like no soul, no nothing. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, and it was just, man took him off. The sheikh cleaned him. We read dua for him. Within 30 minutes of being there, we had left. We drove 4 hours back. And that's when I realized how serious life really is. Do you get me? Because at any moment, anything can happen. Do you get what I mean? And this is why, even down to me, when everyone says, Double's too calm and humble, I'm like, fam, you lot don't know what real life is. That's why you're saying that. You know what I mean? Because the experiences man has experienced in this thing, for example, it's not a joke like that. You know what I mean? It's real life situations. But at the same time, alhamdulillah, like, man even thinks the way man thinks sometimes, because it's like, I always say it can go left at any time, but it's just how you see things, and your experiences will be the reason why you move the way you move. Do you know what I mean? So that's another experience that kind of really changed man's perspective on how I see this thing. Do you know what I mean? WILLLOUGHBY, also known as the Flow Father, also known as Father Leedy. You get me? Just took you on a tour around Northumberland Park, my original Patanini. You get me? But yeah, Tea and Crumpets. Make sure you lot keep it locked. Subscribe, comment, like everything. Wait.